So I'm trying to make an assembly of this C-clamp here as review for the final. So the first thing that we would have to do, remember, is to make a copy of the part. So again, it's the three dots in the corner. I can hit copy, give it a new name, and then it should open up that other one for you. And then so that way you can actually make edits on the part and everything. So with the final exam part, you've got three parts. One that needs to be fixed to where it's sitting, one that needs a slide, and then one that needs a fasten mate. So I'm going to go ahead and actually make a, can I make a duplicate of this assembly? Let's see. Doesn't look like it's going to let me do it easily. Give me 1 second, guys, and I'll do it on here quick. There we go. Okay, so I've got my assembly. So you guys already have a tab for it on yours, and we'll go show you that at the end as well. So on the final exam part, the first thing you'll have to do is fix the first part. Now, on this C-clamp part, if you look, it's already fixed. That's what that line means right there. That line with the slanted lines underneath. But if you need to fix it yet, so you can click it, click the three dots, and then it should say fix right here. So obviously on the C-clamp, it's already fixed, so we don't need that. So I can unfix it, and then fix it again. And what that does is it keeps it from moving anywhere on the spot here. Like I can't slide this at all. So it's fixed exactly where it's sitting. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten this end cap piece to the threaded bar. And so how it should look is that little circle right there at the end should be connected at the end there. So to do that, I'm going to click on that symbol up there, and I'm going to do a fasten mate. So first, remember, whatever I click first is going to move to the other thing. It doesn't really matter, but it makes this little symbol here like that. So that symbol is going to then, that's our fastening symbol. It's going to connect to whatever else or where it's at on the other one. So I want the end there, and I want the end there. Those two together. Now remember, if it accidentally flips funny, you can click on the symbols down here and you can rotate or flip it. If it ended up funny, ours is fine. And we just hit the check. So now if I click this and I can move it, it moves both of them together. So there's our first one. So next, I'm going to put the handle inside the threaded bar spot. So we wanted to do that as a slider mate, just so we can see it just slide back and forth, I guess. Why not? So again, I'm going to click on that one funky symbol that has all of our assembly connections in it. Do a slider mate. So again, here I want to connect it from here, and I want the center of that rod with the center of the hole here. Now, if I remember, there was a trick to getting it to switch between the different spots. There it is. So if I tap on the general area, so I just tapped it once, just like hit and was able to get that, now I can move and select between the three. So I want it on that center. Again, it's a slider, and so I'll just hit the check mark. So now it's hard to see because of where I'm at, but this can slide, but it can slide all the way. So if you remember, the thing we want to add is something called a limit. So if I click the three dots next to the slider, I want to hit edit, and if I scroll down a little bit, there's a limits box right there. Scroll again, and we need to set a minimum and a maximum. So I'm going to guess, I don't know, -1 for our minimum and a 1 for our maximum, maybe? Let's see what that looks like. Oh, I'm going to temporarily fix my threaded bar so I can see what it's doing. Oh. So it looks like one was a little too far, and it looks like my other limit didn't save. So let's try this again. So 1 was a little too far, so let's call it 0.75, and we'll call our minimum negative 0.75. Yeah, that looks good enough. That looks good enough. So now I need to unfix that part so that it can move. So lastly, all I need to do is put the threaded rod inside the frame, roughly there, and then we want it to be a cylindrical joint because we want to kind of simulate that threaded rod aspect, like how it can, oh, what'd I do? So I can simulate kind of what the, like spinning in that slot and everything. So again, I'm going to click on the symbol up there and do a cylindrical mate, which is right there. All right, and so I'm going to do the bottom of the threaded rod there, and I want that to be connected to this face. So I'm going to select that face, and then I can pick the spot. So I want it right at the top there, because with that chamfer, it's kind of tricky to hit that spot. Right there. And remember, it only moves one part at a time, right? Once we hit OK, they'll all move with it. I'm going to turn on my limits, and we need a minimum and a maximum. We need both, because we have to keep in mind like the end cap at the bottom, as well as where it would hit at the top. So let's set a minimum of, so we need it to come up from there a little bit. So how about a minimum of 0.5 and a maximum of 1.75 maybe? Let's see what that looks like. I don't think it saved my limits. It did not. Try again. So we did 0.5 and 1.5. Oh, that's going the wrong way. So maybe it's a negative 0.5 or negative 1.5. These are tricky to do on the iPad. Let's do a negative 0.5. Looks like we're getting closer. That'll work. Let's bring this up a little bit. Okay, let's see what that looks like now. Yeah, close enough. That'll work. I'm happy with that. Okay, so that's our assembly. So again, to turn this in on Schoology, what you would need to do, there's not really anything that you can share with me or like on the exam itself, so you need to then just share the full assignment. So remember I clicked the 3 dots up there? Oh, and the share is difficult on here. So I would go back to the main screen, click the I next to it, and then click share from there. Just be sure to share it with me when you're finished. So that's the only way you can get points on this one is by sharing it with me. So I want to remind you guys on the final exam portion of it. So there's the part again. You can click on the link to open it up, and then how you can share it with me as well. So remember, just click that big blue button. Here's how it should move, right? Stopping at either end, slider. So if you look, I've only got 2 mates and a fasten there, and that's it. So that's assemblies for the final.